I'm proud to announce to you all that I just finished watching episode 19 of Sword Art Online, Alicization, War of Underworld. To be honest, this anime is probably the most uncomfortable and annoying one that I've watched in recent years or in my life. So I divided the disadvantages of this anime into several parts to share with you all. Let us slowly analyze how Sword Art Online, Alicization broke me down. Number 1. The author doesn't understand what a player is. Sword Art Online is an anime about the game, but the author doesn't seem to know the difference between a player and an NPC, just like the Red Army in Alicization being the best example. In the anime, the Red Army is a coalition of players from the United States, China, and South Korea. They are summoned by the antagonist and tricked into fighting with the protagonist team. The number of them is around 30,000, but their equipment and level are the lowest. So the question is, what would you do if you were a member of the Red Army? A. Skip the tutorial for beginners and start exploring the world directly, then kill everything you see other than chickens. B. Beat up the game master first. They can't even manage their servers and request the players to manage them, as well as them only giving you the lowest tier of equipment and level. C. You see a group of Dark Soul level bosses on the opposing side. Moreover, they're dressed very cool, capable of magic, flying through the sky, and no long range attacks. Instead, you and your friend can only look at your rusted iron swords, wear armor with a fashion sense of 0, and 0 game experience. You quit the game. D. When you see that there might be female players on the opposing side, you betray the army and rush to the other side to ask them for their real gender, age, bus size, phone number, Facebook, do they have any boyfriends, etc, and join the opposing faction to protect them until they quit the game. Or E. Treat yourself as an NPC and follow the antagonist's order to invade. I guess more than 90% of players will choose A to D instead of E, but in the anime, almost all the 30,000 players chose E without even thinking about it. I hope that the author can learn from Log Horizon and know that in a quality game anime, players should be free. If they only follow other people's words without thinking, there are more NPCs than actual NPCs. Number 2. Godlike opponents and dogshit teammates. Let's compare the power gap between the protagonist team and the antagonist team. Coming up, I'll call the protagonist team the black team and the antagonist team the red team. First, let's talk about the real world. In the anime, the red team used mercenaries to occupy the main computer room and wanted to steal the Alicization system. The black team had to retreat to the second computer room and wanted to take the system back. The red team only had 1 programmer, whereas the black team had more than 10 programmers, and the system was invented by them as well. So I think the red team definitely cannot beat the black team in terms of experience and number of people. However, it turned out that the red team set up an inside man on the black team, and even restricted their role in the system. Within 10 hours of them seizing Alice, the red team adjusted the game time to a 1-to-1 synchronized time, and then sent more than 30,000 foreign players into the server. So, what is the black team doing during the 10 hours of this emergency? I don't know. It seems the only thing they do is sleep, and they didn't even realize that the time changed in the game, as well as the login of more than 30,000 unfamiliar accounts onto their own servers. Eventually, it was 2 high school students that called them to warn them that they realized their server had been compromised. So, what did they do when they learned that their server was compromised? I still don't know. Notifying others of this matter and calling the players to protect the underworld were all done by high school students. The combined effort of a dozen programmers is not as great as a wrench. I see, in Japanese anime, adults are all like flower vases, and the only people capable of saving the world are high school students. So, now we know the combat gap in reality, but what about inside the game? The most advanced account in the underworld is called a god level account, and there are only 4 of them in the entire game. On the black team, there are 3 god level accounts, the strongest knights, thousands of accounts that were transferred from other games, and all the remaining black armies that were summoned. On the other side, the red team has only 1 god level account and 1 transferred account. Although they have more than 30,000 red troops, they're all pretty much level 1, and the equipment is also the most garbage. So, what was the result? The black team has 3 god level accounts, and the first one used up all her PP when she first arrived in this world. In the following plot, her only role is to vomit blood, get bullied by others, and surrender. The second god level account was abused when she first arrived in this world, and in the following plot, the god level account was abused by several level 1 accounts. The third god level account, like the first god level account, used up all her skills at the beginning, and the rest of the time is waiting on cooldown. Her only role in the story is to kiss Kirito in front of Kirito's girlfriend, almost being kissed by the last boss, and even as the strongest account in this game, she was still defeated by an account transferred from another game. Those knights and the Underworld's army had max combat power before the appearance of the Red Army, and they were unstoppable. After the appearance of the Red Army, most of the knights disappeared and the Dark Army all became disabled. When those thousands of transferred accounts first appeared, just one of them could defeat 100 Red Army soldiers. Then in the next episode, they became peace ambassadors, telling everyone that fighting is not good, letting everyone know to stop fighting, and then all of them were lying on the ground a minute later. And a minute after that, they became an audience that watched other people fight, as well as being professional comedians that explained how the fights went on. On the red team, their god level account can control the black army, and grab Alice, and die with the strongest knight on the black team, and then reappear in the game by transferring counts, and defeated a god level account on the black team. Of course, at the price of defeating the god level account, he was injured and became Obito Uchiha. Rin, I'll create a world where you're alive. But compared to those on the black team who won't move after being injured, he has a lot more perseverance and continues to chase Alice even after being injured. When the last boss of the red team was chasing down Alice, the second member of the red team was even crazier. Although his account at the beginning was killed by a god level account, he entered the game for a second time through another game's account. First, he tricked more than 20,000 red troops into attacking the black team, defeated several transfer accounts like him, and even the god level accounts were defeated by him. At the end, when the red army realized that they had been deceived, he even controlled more than 20,000 players' minds to kill each other. I think compared to the artificial life form of the Alice system, your ability to control the thoughts of others is much more rare. Number 3. Sudden love. Perhaps the author thinks that this war is not cruel enough. The death of the characters are too monotonous. So he started to add some strange and sudden love to the story. Like in the previous episode, 2 people were trying to kill each other, and in the next episode, they're arguing about what kind of job their child should have. This situation doesn't just happen once. Imagine you're playing a game. Your opponent is simply unstoppable. During each team fight, your teammates are just watching you and enemy 1v1. The only reliable teammate was disconnected because of their Wi-Fi. At this critical moment, the person who is repairing the Wi-Fi is actually talking to his colleague about where they should go on a date after he just got shot by a gun. Do you really think I'm done talking about all the disadvantages in this 7-minute video? Well, there are still a ton of loopholes that I haven't mentioned yet. But because of the length of time in this video, I'll introduce them in part 2 next time. And it will mainly talk about the differences between the anime and the light novel, as well as the anime original's plot. So be expecting that. Sayonara.